Hey everyone, you did read the title of this video correctly. I did travel to Lebanon during the height of the Israeli war in Gaza, along with skirmishes that have happened within Lebanon too, and it was an awesome experience. I would go again in a heartbeat if given the opportunity. This video is really just going to be walking through some of the things I saw and my experience in the country, and so sit back and enjoy. So here I am on a road within the Baruch National Forest to see some of the Lebanese cedars here. This day I had visited Anjar, Baalbek, and then the cedars. You'll get to see some of those sites later in this video. Really cool place to be, especially really wanted to see the cedar that you see right here, which is very similar to the one that's on the national flag. I only spent a few hours in the park, but if I were to give you any suggestion, I would say plan longer time just so you can go hiking here. There's a bunch of hiking that's really cool, trails all throughout the park. Here we are at the Baalbek site in northern Lebanon. Right in front of us, we got the Temple of Bacchus. To our left, we have the Temple of Jupiter. This site is one of the most well-preserved sites for Roman temples anywhere in the world, especially the one right in front of us. It is incredibly beautiful on the inside. I'm going to be posting more videos in the future of this site itself, along with the inside of the Temple of Bacchus that's in front of us. These stones that we're walking on as we get a little further down, they are some of the largest stones in the whole world. And the ones towards the end of here are actually the largest stones that have been cut and moved known to man. And you'll get to see a better view of those here in just a minute. But this site's really cool. We did have to travel through some Hezbollah-controlled areas to get here. And you'll see too later in this video that there is a very famous Shia shrine on the way to the Baalbek temple area. And if you're outside this temple area, there's a bunch of people just trying to sell stuff. The shops, in my opinion, are way overpriced for the fake things they're selling. Like little statues that I got in Syria that I paid a few dollars for, they were trying to sell me here at this site for 150. So definitely way overpriced. Not sure why they were that high, especially when there were no tourists here. You would think they'd want to offer some kind of deal, but that was not the case. Also, to just be prepared, there's going to be people trying to sell you Hezbollah memorabilia when you're here, like t-shirts, like flags, all kinds of stuff as you're walking in and out of this site, just because it's a predominantly Hezbollah supporting area. And here you're going to see those gigantic stones I was telling you about. So here's one of them, and the one next to it is massive too. But there's no idea really of how those were moved. Here we are coming up on the Shia shrine I was just telling y'all about. This is a major pilgrimage site for Shia Muslims. When I was here in the country, I saw a number of like charter buses full of Iraqi pilgrims coming here to see this shrine. Later on in the week, we traveled south to Sidon and Tyre, and this right here is the coast leading into Sidon. Really beautiful area. One of my favorite parts of Lebanon. They've got some of the most beautiful beaches. Here we are at the Sidon Sea Castle. If you're familiar with Bible history, you'll recognize the name of this town because it is the hometown of the wicked Phoenician queen Jezebel. And this site here of the Sidon Sea Castle, beneath it, there was a temple to the Phoenician deity Melkart. And so it is very possible that Jezebel could have come to this site and worshipped the Phoenician gods that we see in the Bible that she ended up bringing into Israel.
If you're enjoying this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button below. It helps me to continue making content just like this one.
So Sidon is the third largest city in Lebanon. Here we are walking through one of the souks here. And because of the city that's built over the ancient site, there's been very little excavation done. I visited a site that I was hoping would have been more excavated, which you'll see here in just a second, but it had not been because of the crash of the Lebanese currency several years ago that led to the stalling of this project. And you're just looking at some ancient temples here that this site was built over. Right outside of the ancient city of Sidon, you have the Temple of Eshmun. As you can see here, it's kind of grown up. This is one of my favorite sites in all of Lebanon, and just because of its connection to the Bible. So this site is the Temple of Eshmun. They've got a throne to Astarte there in the center, but this was the healing god of the ancient city here. And it's very interesting because in the Bible, it says that people from Sidon actually came to Jesus to be healed. And so, why would you go to Jesus to be healed if you had a temple to the healing God in your city? Here we are on the coast of the ancient town of Zarephath, which to many of you may recognize that name because it's the town where Elijah came and he multiplied the food of the widow of Zarephath for her and her son. Really quiet, peaceful town here. The coastline is beautiful, probably one of the most beautiful coastlines I've seen of anywhere in the Mediterranean. After visiting the town of Zarephath, we traveled further down the coast of Lebanon to the city of Tyre to see several of the historical sites there, including the El Bus site here, which is where we're at. Right behind me, we've got the cemetery. Also, they had a cremation area here too, where they would put the bodies in urns after they burned them. Here we're walking through the main gate. To the right, you're going to see some homes. And so this is one of the Palestinian refugee camps that's here in the country of Lebanon. There's a massive wall, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it here, separating this archaeological site from that refugee camp. We've got a church, or an ancient Byzantine church, to my left here. And behind me, which we'll see in just a second, we've got the ancient Roman hippodrome. And you can see it here. I walked the full course. I pretty much had this whole park to myself the day I was there. I only met one other tourist, and she was from an Asian country. And other than that, it was very quiet, especially with all of the conflict that's going on between Israel and Lebanon and just in the region with Gaza. But really cool sight to see. I was told that during normal times that this place is generally packed with tourists. That this is one of the most popular tourist sites in Lebanon, and so it was really cool getting to have the place to myself during my visit here. I also want to call out too that in the Bible, this is a city where Paul visited. It's also where Jesus visited. And so I could kind of see Paul just being up in these stands, coming out, fellowshipping with other Christians in the area and watching a game here. So here we are just slightly down the road from the El Bus site at the Almina site. This is a really famous site because it was sieged by Nebuchadnezzar and then also destroyed by Alexander the Great. So here you can see the coastline extending towards Israel, and again, just some beautiful coastlines. I love Tyre, really beautiful city. They had some awesome food, and the people I met were incredibly nice. After finishing up in Tyre, we headed back to Beirut to see Pigeon Rock, which is one of the more touristy sites in the capital. Here we are at the world's thinnest house, and I can't speak to the accuracy of that claim, but it was built after a disagreement between two brothers, and one of those brothers wanting to block the view of the other. I started walking down the coastline of Beirut and just took this video of a really cool area that I saw, and again, the water here is just incredibly beautiful. This is one site I really wanted to visit before I came to Lebanon. This is called The Egg. It's a cinema building that was never finished due to the civil war that started in '75. And this building was used a lot during the protest in 2019 and 2020 by students and academics when they gave speeches. And during that time, it was called the Eggupation. Here we've got the contrast between old Beirut and new Beirut. You can see the destroyed building right in front of me, and then the new construction of the high-rise. My last stop in Beirut before heading back to the US was the Holiday Inn, and this site's really famous because during the Lebanon Civil War, roughly 2,000 people were killed here, and the majority of those deaths were from people being thrown off the top of this building. And overall, my experience here in Lebanon was not what the media would make you think. I love the people. They were very friendly. They were very welcoming. They were happy to see a tourist, which there were very few that I saw that were here. But if I was ever given the opportunity again, I would go back in a heartbeat.